Hello YouTube, and welcome to another episode of The Cloudy Vape. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Kanger Subtank Plus, the 7 ml juice capacity Kanger Subtank Plus, 25 millimeters, 50 something in height, and it is just a huge, massive thing that doesn't really fit on any 22 millimeter devices. But I have a Tesla wooden box mod. I think it's called the Invader. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I have this, and it fits really well because this is a giant freaking mod. So I'm going to screw it on here and see what it looks like. But first, I picked up this Subtank Plus from gearbest.com to check out and to share with you guys. So really excited about this because it has an RBA deck like the Mini does. The Nano doesn't. Boo-hoo. So boo-hoo on you, Nano, for not having the RBA deck. But yes, so it has a few things. Again, I didn't say it, so not again. First time. Thank you, GearBest, for sending it out for review. All that good stuff. So without more yapping, let's vape on it. I lied. We're not going to vape on it. We're going to just dive down and check it out. Then afterwards, we will vape on it. We'll vape on it and talk about all the things that I enjoy, I don't enjoy, and all the, happy stuff, because the Cloudy Vape is all about happy stuff. Nothing negative. So if you want to be mean and not be happy, then don't watch it. Alright, so here it is. Here is the Subtank Plus by Kangertech. I picked this up again from gearbest.com. If you want to know more about GearBest or where I got this, I will have a link in the description box below. So definitely go check them out. To start out with, it looks just like all of the other Subtanks, except a little bit different. So you have a sleeve, slides off, has just some markings, copyright, UPC code, and all that stuff. Set that aside. I literally just threw it. That's weird. So the next thing is going to be... Ooh, whoa, turn it around. That's upside down. Calm down. Okay. So, yes, it slides out just like most of them. And then right away, you have this little warning card, which will tell you about the OCC coils. It'll basically say saturate the coils before you fire them up. And, you don't want to be sucking on burnt cotton. That would really suck. So this kit contains a Subtank Plus, OCC 0.5, range from 15 to 30 watts, OCC 1.2 ohm, range from 12 to 25 watts, mini RBA deck. It's pre-built with a 0.5 ohm coil up to 30 watts. You have the Japanese organic cotton that comes with it, a set of black silicone rings to replace your red ones. You have a mini RBA base. You have an extra glass Pyrex tube. You have a screwdriver, and you have a manual. A few cautions: keep out of range of children, keep away from high temperatures, do not use the Subtank Plus if you are under 18, and do not smoke the Subtank Plus more frequently. Which, I've read this a few times, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying. Don't smoke it more frequently? I don't know. Maybe because it's a tank, so you don't want to use it as much. You don't want to overdo the nicotine or anything like that. So maybe that's what they meant. But yeah. So here's the device essentially. Just like most of them, we have our device right here. I will just hopefully pull that out, pick that up right there. Let's look at the goodies inside. We have our manual. It does talk about a few different things, specs and stuff. You have an authenticator. This will, check it if it's the real deal. Here's your organic Japanese cotton. Here are your extra parts, your screw, your O-rings, your extra coil, and your extra screwdriver, all that, Did I already say screwdriver or screw? The same thing. So it has extras. The next thing is awesome. You get an extra Pyrex tank. So that is cool in case you break yours. And that is just press fitted, and I'll show you in a little bit how to replace that tank. So here is your 1.2 ohm coil. The 0.5 ohm coil is going to be in the actual device when you get it. So right inside of here, already screwed in. That device will already be in here. Pop this out. There it is. There's your 0.5 ohm coil. That is where it is going to be. And then the cool thing, cool and not cool. So you have your rebuildable RBA deck. The only issue that I have found, and others of course, is that you have your juice channels the juice channels that go to the actual RBA deck are a little bit small. You see them right here where my finger's pointing. It is a little bit small. So yeah, you can bore them out with a drill, you know, if you want to do that. But yeah, definitely a high 50/50 or even a higher PG would work really well, something thinner. But yeah, so it is cool that there is an RBA deck, but I feel like they need to just tweak this a little bit more and, you know, give you a little bit more juice flow into those channels. That, again, that is just my thought on that, but yeah, it is, you know, it's a pro and a con. It's cool that you can rebuild it, but at the same time, it's not realistic for, you know, repeated vaping, like, you know, chain vaping. It doesn't work really well. Alright, so this is, I believe, 55 millimeters from top to bottom. That's not including the drip tip, and it is not including the 510 pin at the bottom. As far as the diameter, I believe it is a 25 millimeter in diameter, and it does have your, it's either gold plated or it is like a brass pin at the bottom. It says Subtank Plus at the bottom. And it is just a very smooth connection at the bottom. As far as, you know, everything else that takes apart, you have your drip tip, just like most standard Kanger Subtanks. It's pretty much the same exact thing. They didn't really change it up too much. So as far as your sections, I'll just break it apart real quick and talk about each section. So there's that. I'm going to pop off the glass Pyrex for you. And that kind of just press fits. If you see, I can just pull it right out. There it is. And there is your drip tip. And I think the rest of this is all kind of in one piece. So there it is. There's essentially your pieces put together. I will slide them closer to the center of the screen so you can see them. Yeah, so here it is essentially. Just to look at this first. So you have your airflow control. You have a little bit of you know, texture, a little bit of grip right there to adjust your airflow. You have one grommet in there, or at least a seal to seal that off. If you look down in there, there is your pin, and you do have a random marking right there, which I really don't know what that is for. But so there is your positive pin in the center. Going down, looking at the bottom, Subtank Plus has your connection that is just press fitted with a grommet inside of there. So do not use this with a hybrid style connection. So there is that. And yeah, that is about it for the bottom. Once I assemble it, I'll talk about the airflow a little bit more. But essentially, this is your first section. Your next section that you're going to have is, it's either going to be this coil head, or it's going to be your RBA deck, depending on what you want to do. I'm just going to work with this coil head right now. So with this coil head, we just pop it in, screw it down, and that is how you assemble it. Squirt some juice in there before you actually start firing it. Also dab some juice on each of the juice channels right there that you see the cotton coming out of. As far as how the coil heads work, if you're not familiar with Kanger Subtanks, they are resistance, non-resistance. So the center is like a canthal and the outside is a non-resistance wire. I'm not sure exactly what they're using for non-resistance, more like a low resistance. So that is what that is, and it also has Japanese cotton wicking inside of it. And if any of my terminology doesn't sound right, you can go ahead and complain about it and get upset at me at the bottom of the video in the comments. But basically, if you were to take this coil head apart, you would notice that it's fused together. There's the two leads are fused together to the actual spun coil part, and that's how they make sure it doesn't get too hot, and how they also are able to get so low of ohms inside of this. So that is just a real quick tip on how that's going on. And if you already knew that, then great. And if you didn't, I hope it just helped you out on that, because it did confuse me. Right when the first Subtank and the Atlantis came out, it was like, what is going on? What is going on with this? So yeah, that's just a little rant about that. But as far as everything else, going to the next part, let's look at this press fit right here. So here is your essentially your tank section, your 510 section, and then also the part that screws to the base, the atomizer. It screws to the this little part right here, seals off with the coil head. So as far as your Pyrex goes, you just pop it in one side and you just slowly start pushing it. Nothing, not crazy pressure, just let it keep sliding, and that seals off just like that. So that essentially is your section. This is just a 510, and you can fit, the majority of your 510 connections, your 510 drip tips will fit in that. So that is very nice. And then, of course, this is your final part. This is going to be your drip tip with a little red O-ring to seal off the drip tip. Pops in nice and snug, and that finishes it off. And then once you're done, you just pop it on and screw it down like that. So there it is, just like that. Not too shabby at all. Now looking at the airflow, there is actually no, as far as, material or in the manual about the actual sizing of this, but it looks roughly about 7 millimeters in length. The Cylon, I guess, Cyclops, whatever you want to call it, it's about 7 millimeters in length, and it's roughly 2 to 2.5 in height, and you have one on each side. So that is your largest airflow setting, and it does click into place when it's fully open on both sides, but you can, partially close these off, and it would do it on both sides. So that is an option, but you also have these other options. You have this really small one, which is, I would say it's maybe 1 millimeter. Yeah, probably about 1 millimeter open, and that's on each side. So that is your, your smallest airflow option. And then you have one that is about, I would say about 2 millimeters, 1.5 to 2 millimeters, and that would be open on both sides. So you have really teeny small, super, super, super teeny small, really huge, and, Cylon, Cyclops style. And then you have, in the middle, kind of slightly open, not really open, just the two different sides. So those are just your basic options for that, and that is about it as far as what you can adjust on this. There's not too much else to really talk about as far as the adjustment goes. So as far as the build goes, it is just like all of the other sub-tanks. It is a very nice stainless steel. You have organic Japanese cotton inside. You have these O-rings that kind of make the color, and I believe at least the minis, the Subtank minis, I'm not sure if this model has replacement O-rings for it yet, but they have like pink, blue, clear, black, green, I think. So if you want to kind of match the colors with your with your mod or whatever color you got going on, there are replacements. So definitely check those out too. I think GearBest did have them last time I checked, but I'm sure you can just Google them and find them. But yeah, as far as the overall build and quality, it is very solid, very well put together. Juice capacity, like I stated before, is 7 mils juice capacity, so probably more close to like 6.5. I haven't really tried to fill it all the way to the top yet, so I will definitely keep experimenting. But yeah, from what I could see, 6.5, maybe pushing it if I really overflow it to 7. But yeah, I would just say 6.5. And again, like I said, it is not your standard 22 millimeter RDA or not even RTA Subtank. I guess it would be more like an RTA because it has a rebuildable option. But yeah, it's more just a kind of tank replacement coil type head, and yeah, Clearo, whatever you really want to call it. It is a RTA when there's an RBA in it, and it's more of like a Clearomizer type thing if you just have the coil head in it. So yes, it is a hybrid, and yeah, so 25 millimeters, about 55 in height, and yeah, overall I'm enjoying it. It is very nice, very well put together. I've been enjoying all of the Subtanks so far, except the original, of course. But the Mini, the Nano, those are great tanks, and I use them all the time. And this will probably be in my new repertoire of tanks to pick up and to mess around with, and to use and to enjoy and to love and to flourish with, and all those different great words you want to say. But yeah, so I'm gonna fill this up real quick, and I will show you. I'll show you how to fill it up real quick. Right when we start off filling this up. Basically what you want to do is just put a little bit of juice right inside on top of the coil, just like that, just a couple drops, get it nice and saturated, and then go right to the very sides where the little the cotton is kind of poking out, and just dab some juice, not some cotton, dab some juice on that. I'm using a 70-30, I believe, right now, and it should wick pretty well, but I'm just going to saturate that nice and well, put it in like that. And this is a fresh coil head, so the range is like 15 to 35 watts, I believe. 15 to 30 watts, that's what it says right there. And what you want to do is put it at about 15 watts right when you first start off, just like that. Let it, saturate and do its thing, and then you take your tank. You don't drop it. You don't drop your tank. Definitely not. You can just drop it into here if you want, or you can just pour it. So yeah, whatever you want to do. So fill up your tank. I'm only going to put a little bit of juice in this because this is a lot. This is a big tank, so I'll put probably 3 or 4 mils in here. Alright, so that is all done. So now the tank has some juice in it. If you see right there, it has some juice. I've saturated this, saturated the cotton. You just screw your base down. And there is one thing to note: when you are filling it, make sure you the inner stem, you don't fill it past that inner stem in there, because it'll just fall down and fall right through the chimney and the drip tip. So yeah, you don't want to do that. So anyways, now you just let it sit, especially if it's a new coil. Just let it sit and do its thing, and then after that, start it at 15 watts. Give it a couple primer puffs before you fire it up. And, just slowly start bumping it up as you start tasting more flavor. But if you're tasting too much cotton, definitely maybe try a thinner juice. If like a 70 or 80 VG is too high, maybe try, 60-40 or something. But for the most part, these do wick really well with high VG. I put 70, 80 VG, even a max VG in these. So it really depends on the juice, because some max VG can wick pretty well, but again, it all really just depends on what juice you're using and how the makers make it and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna let this sit for just a few minutes, and then we'll just switch back to the other camera angle, vape on it, change the wattage, change the airflow, and then just talk about it just a little bit more. So I will see you in just a sec. Alright, we are back at FaceTime, and as promised, I put this on the Tesla box mod. I believe it is called the Invader. I should have probably looked it up before I actually, said anything, but I got this as a gift, so I haven't really looked too much into it. I've used it a little bit, but I believe, there's no markings exactly what model it is, but it is a Tesla. I don't think that's really important right now. Basically, what I was going to show you is it is a wider mod, so it does fit flush. But like on the ice stick or on the Sageli 150, no, does not fit very well. Alright, so I went ahead and broke it in. I spent the last about 30 minutes or so breaking it in just to finish this video. So yeah, started off at about 15 watts, vape on it for a little bit, just little puffs, don't go intense, not big draws, and definitely close off the airflow, do some primer puffs. Make sure the juice, after all of what you saturated is gone, make sure that the juice is actually going into the coils. If you start getting a dry hit after about 10 hits, that probably means what you saturated is gone and the actual juice in the tank is not wicking very well. So if you're getting that issue, like I said, drop your viscosity, or just try to let it break in a little bit more. It definitely it'll wick better the more it breaks in. So now I'm up to about 30 watts, maxing it out at about 4.2 volts on this Tesla. So this is wide open, and let's have a vape on it. So yeah, it's pretty decent. I've been used to using RTAs lately, so it feels a little weird, but it's definitely more airflow than, say, the Mini. At least it feels like more airflow than the Mini. The Mini just has one Cylon airflow on one side. This has that dual going on. So, yeah, it definitely feels like more airflow at its widest setting. So I'm going to do it at its second to largest, which is like that 2 millimeters on each side, or 1 2 millimeter on each side, if you see right there. So I'll be doing that right now. Let's check it out. 30 watts. So yeah, definitely less vapor production, but definitely better flavor. I don't think I could do the lowest, but let's go down to that. Alright, so next I'm going to do it at the most restricted airflow. It's at about 1 millimeter airflow on each side, so let's check it out. I believe it's going to be a little bit too restricted for me, but we'll try it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know who would, I guess if it's, you know, if it's your style, you might be into really restricted, but that's so restricted. I can't even do like a mouth to lung. That's about it at 30 watts. That's all I can get out of it. So definitely not a fan of the all the way closed off, like the most restricted airflow. Not a fan of that. I definitely like it wide open. Even if I close off the Cylon halfway, it's pretty decent still. So I'll just do that real quick. It's closed off halfway. Yeah, that's money. That's money right there. So I have the Cylon closed off halfway on each side, and I think that's about how I like it. Even wide open, it's just a little bit too much airflow. You don't get enough flavor out of it, but that's really good. Yeah, definitely. Alright, so let's talk about the pros and the cons real quick. I would say right away the pro is that it has a huge juice capacity. It is very well made. You have interchangeable O-rings to kind of match whatever style, color you're going with. You know, the build is great. The quality is great. I really enjoy Kanger tanks. That's just my personal opinion. I enjoy the Kanger tanks a lot. They're, you know, organic cotton, all that stuff is great. The only thing I would say, even though you get such a large capacity of juice, it is just a little bit too large compared to the other ones, or the most of your sub tanks or standard tanks. But it definitely serves its place. Like I said, if you have a mod that is larger than you know, 25 millimeters in thickness, you know, excuse me, I just burped. Sorry, Cody, I didn't mean to burp. I just burped again. I've been drinking coffee all day long. I'm so sorry. So if you have a mod that's larger than 25 millimeters, it will work pretty well and it will fit flush. Like I said, this is a larger box mod and it fits perfectly. It just doesn't really work on your smaller, you know, iSticks, or even Sigelis are just, you know, nice and thin. They're probably about 24, I believe, so they will extend just a little bit over compared to your, you know, 22 millimeters. But yeah, those are just back and forth pros and cons. As far as, you know, the con, I can't really come up with a lot of cons on this, besides I just think it's a little bit too big. I think that the Mini, out of all the sub tanks, are probably going to be the best in my opinion, just because the size kind of fits everything you already have. Most things are already 22 millimeters, so you know, that Mini sub tank is probably going to be my favorite as far as, you know, Kanger sub tanks go. But like I said, there's a few features here that you don't have in the other ones. You have more juice capacity, you have larger airflow, and yeah, it just, you know, even though there is a lot of drama going on, you know, why did Kanger have to release so many different sizes? Well, because there's so many different people, and people have different opinions on different devices, and so it might fit your style. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So it's definitely something I would take if I'm going to be gone for a long time and I don't want to refill the tank a lot, so I can just fill up a tank, probably have it for the majority of the day. I would probably go through 7 mils of juice pretty fast, but at least it would last a little bit longer than, say, like the Nano or the Mini. So again, those are just my thoughts on that. And yeah, I think that's all gonna, that's just gonna wrap it up on what I think about this. So this has been a little bit long of a video, but again, there's a lot of stuff to talk about this. And yeah, so I hope you found it helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to know where I got this, definitely look in the description box below. One more time, thank you so much, GearBest, for sending this out for review and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. And if you like my videos in general, please subscribe. And as always, stay classy and keep vaping. I have to turn off my air conditioning every single time I start filming, and it gets hot in here. I am sweating. You can't see it because, I sweat very well, but man, it is hot. It's getting hot in here, so take off. No, I can't say that on camera. This is YouTube. I'll get banned for saying that.